Right. Hello. Thank you so much for joining this morning. We are approaching the full moon in Aries. And Aries is the first of the zodiac signs. So Aries energy has a tendency to kind of jump right into things and start new projects. It's also a fire sign. So there's a lot of passion, a lot of drive. It's very bold energy. And in this practice, we're going to connect with that power and that strength by finding our own power and strength through a power vinyasa practice. So if you have 2 blocks, they would be really helpful. But you can also get creative with things that you have around the house. If you have maybe 2 books or even a couple of folded blankets or towels would work for some of the things. Or anything else that you can think of. We're going to start off on our backs in any comfortable position. So you could keep your knees bent, or you could straighten your legs, whatever feels good. And if it feels comfortable, I invite you to bring your hands to rest over your belly. And this is the area of the solar plexus chakra, the energy center that is also associated with the fire element. And those similar qualities to Aries, like passion and a will to thrive. So start to become aware of your breath, lifting and lowering your belly. And see if you can bring more energy, more life force, more breath to the belly. Taking a slow, deep breath in. Feel your belly rise. And a slow, deep breath out. Feel the abdominals lightly contract. Deep breath in. Feel your hands rise. And full breath out. Take about 2 more full belly breaths. And with your next inhale, start to reach your arms up overhead, straighten your legs if they're bent, take a full body stretch, and another deep breath in. With your exhale, lower your arms down beside your hips, bring your feet flat on the mat to set up for a bridge pose. Press your feet down and start to lift your hips up into your bridge pose. Hold here with a little tuck of your tailbone, feel the glutes engage, and really press down into each foot into the floor. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling and start to open and close your hands, spreading your fingers and then making fists, like little bursts of sun as the fingers spread. And see if you can find that big belly breath even in this kind of awkward position with the hips lifted. Feel the belly expand completely. And then a little contraction of the abdominals as you let all the breath out. And spread your fingers wide and use your left hand to gently pull your right fingers back. Press the heel of your hand up towards the ceiling and take a deep breath into your right wrist. And switch hands, stretching out your left wrist. Full belly breath. Release the wrist stretch, circle your wrists a few times in one direction, and then circle a few times in the other direction. Then lower your arms down, roll through your spine to lower your hips down. Take your feet out wide and find a few windshield wipers, letting your knees drop from side to side. Then come back to your feet about hip-width distance apart, and we'll lift up into bridge pose one more time. Lifting the hips up, this time toe heel your feet a little bit closer towards each other. And push down into the left foot, almost like you're trying to push the mat away from you and lengthen the mat. And then lift your right knee up so that it's stacked over your right hip, or maybe even hug it in towards your belly a little bit. Then lower your right foot down. Feel the weight shift and push your right foot down into the mat like you're trying to lengthen the mat. And lift your left knee up. Lower your left foot down and continue to march, alternating one leg up and then the other. Focusing on the leg that's on the ground, pushing the floor away. Taking it at your own pace. Do a few more here, keeping that strong breath in the belly. Now, the next time your left knee is lifted, stay there and straighten your leg up towards the ceiling. Point your toes and try to tap the ceiling with your foot. And then relax, push down into the right foot, try to tap the ceiling and lower the hips just a little bit. One more time, lift to try to tap and come back to center. Lower your left foot down. Feel the weight shift into your left foot, stacking right knee over your right hip, and then straighten your right leg, point your toes, try to tap the ceiling, lifting up a little bit higher. Come back to neutral. 2 more like that, lift up and back to center. 1 more, lifting up and back to center. Lower your right foot down. Both feet about hip-width distance apart. Roll through your spine, lowering all the way down. Then take your knees in towards your belly and make some circles, massaging your low back. Going a few times in one direction and a few times in the other direction. Good. From here, we're going to set up the blocks. So you can lift up to grab your blocks and take them on the lowest setting, about hip-width distance apart towards the top of your mat. Then lower down and bring your heels on top of the blocks. Flex your ankles so that you're digging your heels down into the blocks. And then with your exhale, start to lift your hips up off of the ground. Inhale, lower the hips back down. Exhale, dig your heels down into the blocks to lift your hips away from the ground, lift your glutes away from the ground, and then lower back down. 2 more like that, lifting with your exhale. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. This time we're going to hold, lifting the hips. Take a deep breath in. And a full breath out. 1 more inhale. And exhale, lower your hips down. And then rebend your knees. Let's take one of those blocks. Set the other one off to the side. Bring one with you as you come back down onto your back. And then reach your arms straight up to the ceiling, holding onto the block. And start to lift your legs up towards the ceiling. We're going to pass the block to the feet. And then squeeze the block with your feet. You can decide what setting you want the block on, how wide you want it. And start to lower your legs down and reach your arms up overhead. Going down just as far as you can before you start to feel your back lifting away from the ground. And then lift the arms and the legs back up. Grab the block with your hands and do the same thing, lowering your legs, lowering your arms. Exhale, lift up, switch the block between your feet. Lower legs and arms. Lift back up, switch. Reaching up overhead and switch. Good. Inhale and exhale, lift. 2 more like that. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. 1 more. Inhale down. And exhale, lift. Now let's release the feet down. Maybe take a few windshield wipers And then back to center. Take the block between your knees. Squeeze the block and stack your knees over your hips. Bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, lift your elbows up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. And with your exhale, lift up off of your shoulder blades. Draw the low belly down to lift you up. Take your right hand and press it into the block, trying to push it away. Then hug the block with your legs and push the block back into your hands. Try to stay with the breath out. Bring your hand back behind your head. Inhale, lower your shoulders. Exhale, lift up off of your shoulder blades. Take your left hand to the block and press into the block. Try to resist by pressing the block back into your hands. Feel your core lighting up, your abdominals, your inner strength and fire. Hand behind your head, inhale, lower your shoulders. Exhale, lift up. Right hand to the block, press. Hand behind your head, inhale, lower your shoulders. One more time. Exhale, lift up. Left hand to the block, press. And release. Exhale, lift up. This time we're going to internally rotate the hips so that the feet swing away from each other. And then back to center. 2 more like that. Internally rotate your hips and back to center. 1 more, internally rotate and back to center. Inhale, lower your shoulders. Exhale, lift up. Internally rotate your hips, pressing the knees towards each other, back to center. 2 more, internally rotate and center. Last one, and center. Inhale, down. 1 more time like that. Exhale, lift up. Internally rotate your hips and center. Swing the feet away from each other. Center. Last one. And center. Release. Lower all the way down. Set the block off to the side and take your arms out wide. Bring your knees in towards your belly and let your knees just fall over to the left, kicking your right leg straight. Flex your ankle so you're pressing your foot forward, reaching through the top leg. Then come back through center, dropping the knees to the right. Kick your left leg straight and press that heel forward. Come back through center, drop the knees to the left. Kick the right leg straight. And 1 more time over to the right. Kick the left leg straight. Come back through center. Lowering your feet flat on the mat. Lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Point and flex your ankle a few times. And then make some circles in one direction and circle it the other direction. Flex your ankle, cross it over your left thigh. Start to lift your left foot off of the ground for a figure 4 stretch. And we'll keep this one really active without using the arms. So press your ankle into your left leg and your leg back into your ankle. And then imagine you're pulling your legs away from each other. Right leg over to the right, left leg to the left. Notice how that feels around the right hip. And then lower your left foot down, lower your right foot down. Lift your left leg up to the ceiling, point and flex your ankle a few times. Make some circles in one direction and circle the other direction. Flex your ankle, cross it over your right thigh, figure 4 stretch, lifting your right foot off of the ground. And then really active, pressing your legs into each other and then pulling to the right and the left. Let all the breath out to feel the strength in the abdominals. Lower right foot down, lower left foot down. From here, bring your hands behind your knees and start to rock and roll, massaging the length of your spine. Do that a few times. And then come up to a seated position, taking your blocks now to the outside of your hips, to the right side and the left side on the lowest setting. Bring your hands flat on the blocks, bend your knees to bring your feet flat on the mat, and start to press your hands down and your feet down and lift your hips up into a reverse tabletop. Then inhale, lower down. Exhale, press to lift up and lower down. You can continue that, lowering the hips all the way down and lifting up, or add a little swing of your hips back, pushing the blocks away with your hands to get that lift of the hips back. Inhale, lift the hips up, reverse tabletop, push the ground away, and then exhale, swing the hips back, push the ground away with the hands. Inhale, lift the hips, reverse table. Exhale, swing back. One more time, inhale, reverse table. And exhale, swing back, hold here, and maybe start to float your feet off of the ground. Maybe just one at a time, and relax. And then we're gonna take the blocks back around to the top of the mat, swing your legs around, and make your way into a tabletop position with your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Move between a few rounds of cat and cow as you inhale, stretching the front body. As you exhale, round your back. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Feel free to add some circles of your neck, circles in your pelvis, or rocking side to side. And when you're ready, press the hands down, tuck the toes under, lift your knees up and back into downward facing dog. Find a little bit of movement in your down dog by bending one knee and then the other, rocking your hips side to side. Or it might feel nice to bend and straighten both knees to really get into the ankles. And then ripple forward, lowering your knees back down into tabletop. Bring your forearms down to set up for dolphin. Have the hands together for this first one. Press the forearms down, lift up between your shoulder blades, relax your head, tuck the toes as you lift your knees back up into your dolphin pose. And pause here for a moment, feeling the strength in your upper body, your arms, your shoulders, and finding that steady breath. And if you're up for a little bit more here, shift the weight into your left leg, really press down into the left arm, and lift your right leg up. Lower your right leg down. Feel a little weight shift towards the right arm, the right shoulder, and keep pressing it down to the floor as you lift your left leg up. And then continue to alternate right leg up and left leg up, noticing that subtle shift of weight in the upper body and the arms, and meeting that demand by pressing the forearm down even more. Good, then lower both feet down. Take one more big breath in. And lower the knees on your exhale. Bring your hands back down. Lift up, downward facing dog. Inhale to lift your heels up. Bend your knees and start to make your way to the top of the mat, walking your feet forward, nice and wide into your forward fold, taking your feet about shoulder width distance apart, and soften your knees, hold on to opposite elbows, coming into ragdoll. Gently sway from side to side or forward and back. Give your head a little shake. Release your hands down. Toe heel your feet to about hip width distance apart or big toes touching. And with your next inhale, lift up halfway. Lengthen your spine. Exhale, soften your knees, hinging at your hips as you fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to high plank. And hold here. Feel free to find a little movement in your plank, rocking forward and back or dropping heels side to side. But keep pushing the floor away. There may even be a little rounding in the upper back, strong in the shoulders. Keeping your gaze down at the mat, lift the back of your head and neck so that it's in line with the rest of your spine. Then start to lower all the way down to the mat. You can drop your knees first, or you can lower down in one piece if you're feeling ready for that. When you get there, press your pubic bone down first, and then roll the shoulder blades together as you lift your chest up into your cobra pose. Lower your chest back down. Press yourself up either through modified plank or straight into high plank, and then back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels up. Exhale, bend your knees and add a little hop to the top of the mat this time. You can look forward and try to hop your feet behind your hands, pushing your hands down into the floor to get that lift up. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and try a little hop back to plank here. A soft bend of your elbows as you hop it back and lower all the way down to your belly again. Press the pubic bone down, roll the shoulders towards each other as you lift into cobra. Exhale, press back up to high plank and back to downward facing dog. Let's do one more round of our sun cell A. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Take a little hop, and this time, maybe you try to tap your heels towards your glutes as you hop forward. Notice how that feels. And then inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands, hop back to high plank, and then lower all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Pause here for a moment, taking a full breath in and a full breath out. Then shift the weight into your left foot and float your right leg back and up into a three-legged down dog. Bend your knees, circle your hip a few times in one direction and a few times in the other direction. Then float your right leg back and up, three-legged down dog. Inhale. Exhale, shift forward, bringing your knee to your nose. Push the floor away with your hands, rounding the upper back. Inhale, float it back and up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, shift forward and bring your knee to your right elbow. And try to hug it in, or maybe even tapping your right arm. Inhale, lift it back and up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, take a little twist, bringing your right knee to your left elbow. Stay here for another breath in, and then lower the right knee down and lower the right hip down so you're in a half butterfly position facing the long edge of the mat. Reach your right arm up and over towards your extended leg for a side stretch. Then cartwheel that right hand down so it's on the outside of your right hip. Press your hand down into the floor. Press your feet down into the floor, the right knee as you lift your hips up into a little back bend. Hugging the shoulder blades towards each other to open your heart. And then lower the hips down, reach up and over, side stretch with the right arm. Lower the right hand down to the outside of the right hip. Lift your hips up, reach the left arm up. Lower down one more time, side stretch to the left. Right hand down, left arm up, lift the hips. And then lower back down. Come back to three-legged down dog the same way that you got here. So bringing your hands to the top of the mat, tuck the left toes under, float the right leg back and up, three-legged down dog. Lower your right foot down and lift your left leg up. Just like we did in dolphin, alternate lifting one leg and then the other, lifting through the heel to feel the stretch in the back of the leg that's on the ground. The next time your right leg is lifted, hold there. Exhale, shift forward, bringing your knee to your nose. Lift it up as close as you can and push the floor away, rounding your back. Then take a big step through into a low lunge, keeping the back knee lifted. Maybe come up onto your fingertips. Or you can also have blocks under your hands here. Encourage your right hip to pull back and your left hip to pull forward. Then press down into your right foot, especially around the base of the big toe. Tuck the tailbone so that you feel the abdominals engage, just a little tuck. And start to float your hands off of the ground in a tilted crescent lunge. Keep your spine nice and long, and notice if you're rounding in the upper back, keep the heart open, rolling the shoulder blades a little bit towards each other. And then keep pushing down into the right foot, rise all the way up to a high crescent lunge. Take a breath here. And slowly lean forward back into your tilted crescent lunge. Sweep your arms down beside your hips. Take it nice and slow. And we're just going to lean forward a little bit more, pushing off of the back toes to come up into a warrior three. Then slowly lift up into one-legged balance, straightening the torso to stack over the hips, lifting your left knee up. You can reach the arms up. And then lower the left foot down, coming into chair pose. Sit the hips back and start to pulse the hips, just slightly lifting and lowering for 3, 2, and 1. Then shift the weight into your left foot as you lift your right heel off of the ground. Slowly slide your right foot back and reach your arms back beside your hips so you're in a tilted crescent lunge. Make any little adjustments that you need to. Then try to keep your torso in this same position as you slide or lightly step the right foot back to tap next to the left foot. And then step or slide it back, tapping into your tilted crescent lunge. Tap the right toes forward, inhale. Exhale, tap it back. One more time, inhale, forward to chair. Exhale, tap the right toes back. Then lift up through high crescent lunge and open up to warrior two. Straighten the front leg, turn to the long edge of the mat, bring your hands down to heart center and take a side lunge to the right, using the strength of your legs. So go just as low as you can while being able to still push yourself back up with the strength of your legs. You can come with the hips down, or you could keep the feet more parallel and keep your torso parallel to the ground. And then press yourself up. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, warrior two. Flip your front palm with your inhale, reverse your warrior. And with your exhale, extended side angle. And stay here, reach the right arm straight up to the ceiling. Hover your left forearm off of your left thigh and then straighten your left arm. Get a little bit of rotation in your torso with your exhale. And start to lift back up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, cartwheel your hands all the way down and step your left foot back into a high plank. Take it to side plank on the right. Dropping to the pinky edge side of the right foot, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, that left hip up, maybe even adding a side stretch, reaching up overhead with the left arm. Then slowly start to lower, left hand down, high plank, lower all the way down to your belly. And when you get there, bring your forearms down for Sphinx pose. Pressing your forearms down, your hands down, pull the arms back on the mat and bring your chest forward. A little lift of your chin, press the pubic bone down, and then relax that engagement in your upper body. Bring your gaze down towards the ground, push the floor away with your hands, and if it feels better like we did in dolphin earlier, you can have your hands together or keep the forearms in line with your elbows as you tuck your toes under and lift up into a forearm plank. Pause here. And start to walk your feet in, coming into dolphin pose. 2 more deep breaths. And then walk your feet back into your forearm plank. Lower down, all the way to your belly, and slide your hands forward, lifting your arms, your chest, and your feet for locust pose. Then lower back down, slide your hands under your shoulders, press yourself up and back to downward facing dog. We'll take it on the other side. When you're ready, inhale, float the left leg back and up. Bend your knees, circle your hip a few times in one direction and a few times in the other direction. Then straighten your left leg, inhale. Exhale, shift forward, knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to left elbow. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, a little twist as you bring your knee to your right elbow. Hold here. Then lower the left leg down, lower the left hip down, coming into half butterfly pose, facing the long edge of the mat. Take a side stretch towards your right leg. Then lower the left hand down. Reach the right arm up as you lift your hips up. Lower the hips down. Reach toward the right leg. Side stretch. Lower left hand down. Lift the hips up. Little back bend. Exhale down. Side stretch. And one more time, lift the hips up. Okay, from here we'll come back around into three-legged down dog with the left leg lifting. So bring your hands forward, tuck the back toes, lift the left leg back and up, three-legged down dog. Start to alternate, lowering left foot down, lifting right leg up, right foot down, left leg up. Okay, keep going. The next time your left leg is lifted, pause there. Take it nice and slow as you shift forward, bringing your knee to your nose and push the floor away so you can lift your knee up a little bit higher and then step it through. Low lunge, come up onto your fingertips or blocks. Encourage your left hip back, your right hip forward. Feel a little tuck of your tailbone and notice how the abdominals lift when you do that. Then push the left foot down into the floor. And start to float your hands off of the ground and open up your chest so you're not rounding your upper back. Take a few breaths here. Finding your strength and your power, but keeping your mind calm, your nervous system calm, your breath slow and steady. With your next inhale, lift up all the way into a high crescent lunge. Take another few breaths here. Then slowly lean forward back into tilted crescent lunge, arms down beside your hips. And then it's just a small shift forward to come up into your warrior three, lifting the right foot off of the ground. Challenge your balance by keeping the right leg lifted as you press down into the left foot to straighten the left leg, lift the right knee up to one-legged balance, and reach your arms up. Lower the right foot down, chair pose, sit the hips back, and pulse your hips for 3, 2, and 1. And hold your chair pose. Shift the weight a little bit more into your right foot so you can lift your left heel off of the ground. And then slide your left foot back, slide your arms down beside your hips back into that tilted crescent lunge. Tap the left toes forward, reach your arms up, inhale, exhale, back to tilted crescent lunge. Inhale, tap it forward in your chair, exhale back. One more time, inhale, and exhale. You're in your tilted crescent lunge, rise up high crescent lunge, then turn to the left, hands at heart center, parallel your feet, side lunge to the left, sitting your hips back. Holding here, one more breath. And then press yourself up, 5-pointed star, turn your right foot to the front of the mat, warrior 2. Flip your front palm, inhale, reverse your warrior, reaching back, then exhale into extended side angle. Stay here, reach your left arm straight up to the ceiling. Hover your right forearm off of the right leg first so that you get that strength from your core, and then straighten your right arm. You can gently press your arm into your leg And use the core by drawing the low belly in with the breath out to twist a little bit deeper. Maybe take your gaze up towards your left hand. And come back up through warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior one more time. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the top of the mat. Step your right foot back, lower all the way down to your belly. Sphinx pose, forearms down. Inhale, press the forearms into the mat and pull the elbows back, the chest through. Exhale, gaze down at the floor. Press the elbows, the forearms, the hands down as you lift the hips up into your forearm plank. And then walk your feet into dolphin, lifting the hips up. You can keep your knees bent and your heels lifted as much as you'd like, keeping the spine nice and long. And then walk your feet back, forearm plank. Lower all the way to your belly, slide the hands forward. Locust pose, lifting your hands and your feet off of the ground, hugging towards each other, and then lower down. Slide your hands under your shoulders, press yourself up, and let's come back to a child's pose before we take that sequence one more time and add a few things on. So sit your hips back towards your heels. Knees can be wide or together. Rest your forehead on the ground. And come back to your deep belly breathing. Take one more breath here. And start to lift back up, making your way to downward facing dog. Once there, shift the weight into your left leg, float your right leg back and up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, shift forward, knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to left elbow. Pause here for a moment. You can stick with what we did the first time through, or this time maybe you kick your right leg through, coming into fallen triangle. Keep the right hand down, lift the left arm up. And then lower your left hand back down. Try to lift your right foot off of the ground first and then float it back and up into three-legged down dog. Exhale, take a big step to the top of the mat. Oh, I forgot our leg lifts. Let's come back to that. Distracted by my mat. Let's come back to three-legged down dog, right leg lifts, and start to alternate one foot down and then the other. And you can stick with that or add a little handstand hop. So it doesn't have to be very big. You can hop off the left foot, land, lower the right foot, lift the left leg, hop off the right foot and land, and continue to alternate. Or if you would like, you can take a bigger hop, maybe keeping that left thigh hugging in towards your belly. And then the left leg lifts, push off the right leg, keep the right thigh hugging in towards your belly to help keep you from flipping over too far. Or if you'd like, lifting both feet up and hugging the feet towards each other. So the next time your right leg is lifted, hold there. And then take a big step, or you can hop it through, bringing right foot forward into a low lunge. Come up onto your fingertips, find that engagement, encouraging right hip back, tuck the tailbones, the low belly lifts, and then open the chest as you lift into your tilted crescent lunge. Rise all the way up, high crescent lunge. And then exhale, tilted crescent lunge. Pause here for a moment, reach your arms forward, and then with your exhale, hug your knee in towards your belly, your left knee. Pull the elbows back, then inhale, reach forward, tilted crescent lunge. Exhale, pull the left knee in, and step it back. Inhale. One more time, exhale, pull the left knee in and step it back. Warrior 3, lift the left foot off the ground, reach the arms back, lift up to your one-legged balance. Inhale, exhale to chair pose. Good. Chair pose feels so easy now. Pulse the hips for 3, 2, and 1. From here, shift the weight into your left foot. Start by lifting the right heel, and this time we're going to kick the right leg straight in front. Then bend your right knee, bringing your heel towards your glutes. Straighten your right leg. Bend your knee, bringing your heel towards your glutes. One more time, straighten your right leg, flex the ankle, bring your heel towards your glutes, and step it back. Turn to the right, hands to heart center, side lunge to the right, bending your right knee, sit the hips back. Press up, inhale, exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Pause here, reach the right arm straight up. Float your left arm off of your left leg and then straighten the left arm. Take a deep breath in to lengthen and exhale, draw the low belly in, twist. Come back up, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Step your left foot back, lower down to your belly. Sphinx pose, forearms down. Inhale. Bring the chest through, shoulders towards each other. Exhale, gaze down to the mat. Tuck the toes, lift up forearm plank. Walk your feet in, dolphin pose. And if you want a little bit more this time, you could lift and lower your heels. Or maybe you take a few little hops in your forearm balance. And again, they don't have to be very big. Or you could also come up against the wall. And then walk your feet back into a forearm plank. Lower all the way down to your belly. Reach, this time we'll come into bow pose. So reach your arms back, bend your knees, holding onto your feet, and then kick your feet into your hands as you lift up. Lower back down, hands under your shoulders, press yourself up and back, downward facing dog. Pause here for a moment, take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. One more big belly breath. And one more side to go. Float your left leg back and up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to left elbow. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to right elbow. And kick it through for fallen triangle, reaching the right arm up. Lower your right hand down. Float your left foot off of the ground first, and then back up, three-legged down dog. Lower your left foot down, right leg up. Continue to alternate or add some handstand hops. Maybe this time you switch your legs in the air, landing on the other foot. The next time your left leg is lifted, you can either step it through or add a hop and hop it through. So you're in your low lunge with the left foot forward. A little tuck of your tailbone, lifting the low belly. Push the left foot into the floor, tilted crescent lunge. Inhale, high crescent lunge. Exhale, tilted crescent lunge. Keep your arms reaching forward. Exhale, hug your right knee into your belly, pull the elbows back. Inhale, tilted crescent lunge. Two more like that. Exhale, knee to belly, elbows back. Inhale, tilted crescent lunge. Exhale, knee to belly. Inhale, back. Exhale, warrior 3. Inhale, one-legged balance, right knee lifts. Exhale, chair pose. Pulse your hips for 3, 2, and 1. Shift the weight into your right foot. Straighten your left leg, flexing your ankle. Bend your knee, heel towards your glutes. Straighten your left leg, inhale. Exhale, bend. One more inhale. And exhale, step it back. Turn to the left. 5-pointed star, bring your hands to heart center, side lunge to the left. Press up to straighten, warrior 2 to the top of the mat. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Reach the left arm straight up to the ceiling, hover your right forearm off of your thigh, straighten your right arm. And then lift back up, warrior 2, inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Step your right foot back, high plank. Last time, all the way down to your belly. Forearms down, forearm, or Sphinx pose. Press the forearms down, pull them back, drag them back on the mat. Take your gaze down, tuck the toes, lift up, forearm plank. And walk the feet into your dolphin pose. And let's do that a few times. Walking your feet back into your forearm plank. Inhale, exhale, dolphin pose. Inhale, forearm plank. Exhale, dolphin. One more time back to forearm plank. And then lower all the way down. Bow pose, one more time. Bend your knees, reach for your feet. Kick your feet into your hands. Lift the chest. And release. Good, press your hands down, press yourself up and back around to a seated position for just a moment. Take a deep breath in, reaching your arms out and up. And exhale, lower the arms down. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. And exhale, lower the arms back down. A few more like that, and see if you can slow down your breath by slowing down the movement of your arms, connecting your breath with your movement. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Good, and then take your feet out in front of you, nice and wide. Bring your arms forward and slowly with the breath out, drawing the low belly in, roll all the way down onto your back. When you get there, take a full body stretch, reaching your arms up overhead. And then lower your arms down beside your hips. Resting here for a moment in Shavasana. And slowly start to bend your knees. Roll onto one side, resting your head on your arm. And press yourself up and around to a seated position. And now that we've really tapped into our inner strength, our inner fire, and we have the full moon coming up this evening, it's a great time to reflect on how some of those Aries qualities show up for you. So there are some journaling questions that you can reflect on down in the description below. I'll also put them in the chat right now if anyone wants to make any comments about them or share your thoughts about the self-reflection questions or about the practice or Aries or anything else. You can add that to the chat as well. So the first question is, what bold steps am I ready to take to pursue my passions? So this is a great time to connect with that energy of just diving headfirst into things. And the second question is, what fears or doubts are holding me back from taking action, and how can I release them? So the full moon is a great time to think about what things aren't working for you and letting them go. And then the last question is, how can I balance my desire for independence with my need for connection and support? So Aries is all about the individual, and right now we are still in Libra season, which is more about the collective and relationships. And so it's a great time to find the balance between the two of really knowing yourself and having your independence, but also how are you in relationship with other people. So a few things to think about. And if you have any questions come up later on, or if you're watching the replay later, please leave a comment below. And if you are interested in more yoga videos, check out my website, moonphaseyoga.com. Thank you so much for joining me today.